Welcome to Make Fathers Great Again. Another beautiful, beautiful day in Florida. All praise be to Yahweh. I was doing some thinking. I'm always chewing the cud, right? And I was thinking about what's going on between the sexes, you could say. And one way to view things is men have this innate masculinity. Women have this innate femininity. Um, Social constructs do not change universal law. People try very hard. Was having a conversation recently about neuroplasticity, which I agree, the brain can be molded, but the brain does not get to overcome universal law. The person who gave the brain the spirit, the power, Yahweh, who gave man the ability to learn, mold, build, grow, adapt, still created universal laws within that. So with that being said, I see the fact that you have guys who, what they call, try to show off or flaws or beat their chest in public, with what they have when they don't have it, or women who overinflate themselves because they don't really have it either. And for the example, the guy who lives at his mother's house in the projects, and you still see him in the club showing off and doing this innate ego, this innate feeling of dominance that we have is necessary, but the use is the key. For the longest of time, and still time today, we have to go after and get what we want. Pursuing a woman, we have to go after her and dominate ourselves, not in an imposing manner, but in a way of, I want to be your man, I want to provide for you, I want to be pastor, protector, provider for you. And she knows this with a confidence, because you are very confident about being that in her life. We have to go after careers or businesses. Back in the day, you had to go and get your land and protect your land, protect your home. This dominance, this ego, this aggression that's naturally in men is not negative. It's necessary to be alpha-like for the existence, for continued existence. And we look at that where men aren't in reality in a position of power, in a position of finance, in a healthy manner, in their own independence. They still want to be treated that way, and they still want to be perceived that way. So even though it's not their reality, they still try to create that false illusion to the world, because it's like a need that has to be fulfilled. A woman needs security, and a woman gets security from a man. And I give this in several examples. If there was a situation of emergency, a woman doesn't call another woman, a woman calls the emergency services. And 95% of emergency services, when we think about emergency services, firefighters, policemen, you're going to think about men 95% of the time. Not to say females aren't a part of emergency services. Let's not go there. But you are going to reach out to a man in emergency situation. So with that being said, you're doing that because that's where you get your security from. The government is composed of mostly men. That's where you get the government seats of power. So, and it's always been that way. It's always been that way. Who owns most companies? Men. You are seeking validation, resources, whatnot from men. You can say, well, the world's been patriarchal and that's the way it is, so that's what we got. However you want to put it, it's the reality because it's universal law. If you had an army of 100 women and an army of 100 men, who would win? Thank you. If you use the resources that men have created and say women are independent now, they're independent based on the resources that men have created, the world that we've created, the civilization that we created. But back to the topic at hand, which is a woman needs security. And a woman who does not have true security, which is a ring on the finger, will inflate herself and say that she does. Now, example, a woman who is single finds a guy and has a one night stand and becomes pregnant. She's going to be looking for some type of help to help her go through that situation. A man is not going to be looking for help. He's not going to be looking for security. He's not going to be looking for paternity leave, even though they just started giving it now. She's going to be in a position to where she's not able to completely even defend herself physically, financially. You can't do all the things that you want to do economically to make more money because you are pregnant. You have those limitations. You have to give birth. You have to be home with the kids. Leaving, you can go back to work after 3 days or, as soon as you leave the hospital, but what woman wants to do that? These are universal laws. You're not secure as a woman without a male. And there is a false ego, a false inflation led from feminism and a darkened heart and a darkened spirit. Yes, I'm going to call it what it is. A guy who's not on top of his game and he wants to create the false illusion to the world has a darkened spirit. A woman who is not feminine enough and respectful of Yahweh enough to know that she derives her security from a man, she has a darkened spirit. And I tell you this because it says in scripture, the head of man is Messiah, the head of woman is man, the head of Messiah is Elohim. So I'm not giving you Justin Austin, I'm giving you scripture, universal laws. And a woman who is not feminine enough and in tune with the creator and herself, she will have this false sense of ego. And she would try to project that to the world, even though when she go home at night in those really, really twilight moments, she will come to that realization of her weakness. But then she'll try to make up for it because, people want to be seen in the world as still secure. A woman who is married and being taken care of by an awesome husband, she does not mind talking about the crown that adorns her, which is her husband. The crown of a woman is her husband. The crown of children is the father. That's why you have to get with a king to be a queen. That's where the crown derives from. So with that being said, we are experiencing between the sexes a false sense of ego. And this false sense of ego is having a real effect on marriages, on relationships, on families, on children. We need to understand that men need to work and be able to create. They need to be pastor, protector, provider. Women need to be the great wives, the great mothers that they talk about in Proverbs 31. This is my spiel for the day. That if we address these darkened hearts, these darkened spirits, because the way you address a darkened spirit is giving them the spiritual radiation that causes the organs of the heart to understand. Light, the word light means electromagnetic radiation that causes the organs of sight to react. That's what light is. Electromagnetic radiation that causes the organs of sight to react. If when you think about Yahweh Shua as the light, he is the word as the light. He was the word. The word was with Yah. Okay. So if you think about the word, if you think about Yahweh Shua Messiah, he is the light. The word is the light of Yahweh. It is the spiritual radiation that causes the organs of the heart, the subconscious, to understand. And when you have that spiritual understanding, it brings light to those darkened places, such as your heart. And that's what we need. We need to bring about that spiritual radiation that causes the organs of the heart to understand. And when we have that understanding, when we have the word, when we have Messiah, the set apart spirit, all blessed upon us from evil, Elohim in favor, then we'll start healing our families. We'll start healing our relationships. We'll start healing our marriages. Turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children, the hearts of the children back to the fathers. And we can remove this curse that is now in our homes, in our society. All praise be to Yahweh.